Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Action Trippin Ballscast. This is Ballscast number 21. It is officially legal to drink in the United States of America. I don't know about Europe and y'all's weird rules, because I know people who visit Germany and they said they could drink like at 13. I don't know how true that is. But in the U.S., this podcast can now drink. And I wish I had.
Hello, everybody. Well, it's always fun. I mean, to drink in this part of the world. Age doesn't count. You can start anytime you like. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's great to be back. We skipped last week, unfortunately. We're sorry about that. We had too much stuff.
Before.
And the week. Is that right? Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
I think so. Yeah. We've been busy. What can we say?
We have.
It's been review crazy and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not that it's any different this week, to be
no.
honest.
I don't even know when March got busy. I really don't. It just kind of snuck up on me.
I think that we expected the beginning of 2016 to be traditionally not busy as any start of the year, and it ended up being very busy, and it's getting busier by the month, which is, I mean, it's great in a way, isn't it? I mean,
yes.
But at the same time, we're like, we are...
Although I have to say, though, that with it being busy, we've been busier with more indie games than we have a AAA.
That is true, and it is something I am personally excited about. I mean, we agreed on that like earlier today that, I mean, there is like, I think the last 6 reviews we did were PC. Mm-hmm. And with the exception
PC,
of...
but PC indie, except for, I think, XCOM 2.
Well, yeah, that's on Mac. That's on Mac as well, and it's AAA, but we did the review on PC, and we only had like 3 console reviews. And then, like, what is this, 3 plus almost 10 like PC reviews, which is amazing. I mean, it just shows you how much the PC gaming scene... indie gaming scene is like blossoming at the moment.
But you know that PC gaming's dead, right? Or it's dying.
Yeah, totally.
Or
I mean, yeah, that's
just like console gaming, that's also dying.
I read some comments somewhere, like I don't know if it was on YouTube or where was it, like console. It was something like console gamers are ruining games. Or something.
That
or
was
like,
on our Facebook page.
Was it?
Yes.
What did I like misquote there? Was it like console games are ruining PC games, or was it just like games?
Console buyers are ruining gaming.
Right, console buyers are ruining gaming, like as if we're like, I mean, I play console games as much as I play PC games, so I guess I can call myself both.
Cool.
I mean,
I'm killing gaming. I'm cool with that. I'll make myself a t-shirt.
Right.
I'm destroying gaming by playing consoles.
With each unlocked trophy or achievement, you are contributing to gaming, to the death of gaming.
Sweet.
And you know it.
Sweet.
So while we're on that topic,
I can't wait to continue to be part of the problem.
Right.
But yeah, but with all these indies that we've been reviewing, it's kind of come to the question, especially with a very popular indie that released earlier this year, The Witness.
Yeah.
With the big problem that most people had with The Witness was how much the game cost, because the big argument was, well, indies shouldn't cost that much, which is questionable. Because, okay, so let's take The Witness, which did cost $40, and I think when Blake reviewed it, he kind of did like a fast run through where he finished it in 25 hours. That's kind of meaty for an indie game. And I've been told that that there's over 400 puzzles. That's a lot. So it could take you between 50 and 60 hours to do the entire thing.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean,
if you think about how many $60 games that are AAA, you can beat in 10 hours or less. Or like, let's look at The Order. My favorite thing to talk about, The Order, that you can beat in 6 hours.
That is going to be an example forever.
Right. Well, but that is an example of a $60 AAA game. It was about between 6 and 8 hours, depending on your difficulty, and there was no multiplayer to extend its life. So, right. I mean, why people should, we can definitely argue that was not worth the $60. But how can you then argue that The Witness is not worth $40 just because it's an indie game? I understand that we're not used to indie games costing that much, but we're also not used to indie games not needing the big publishers either.
Right, but I mean, it's kind of difficult to judge in this because there's also the question of genres. And there are a lot of indie games that are kind of cheaper, but are different genres. They have a lot of replayability. It's not like single player, you're done. They could be MOBAs. They could be like, or what you call them. Now I sound really professional. I was gonna say. Oh yeah, those like roguelike games, where you have like procedural generated, like levels and stuff. So there's a lot of replayability and like really cheap titles that basically end up being hugely popular, even though they're indie and for a small amount of money. So I think that was the idea behind, the complaint that people had. But at the same time, I guess I don't support that in relation to The Witness. I guess The Witness is reasonably priced, in my opinion.
Well, I guess like my big question is like, so what constitutes how much bang you get for your buck? I mean, because it's a good question. What kind of came about with The Witness was like, just because it's an indie, does that mean it's only worth $20 no matter how much it gives you, or that AAA games should all be like The Witcher 3 and offer 200 hours plus of gameplay, and that's why it's worth.
Which they don't. I mean, right. Not all games.
And that's why it's worth the $60, or is there something, unique to each individual that makes a game worth every penny?
Yeah, I think you can argue that that if you're playing, I mean, most people when they buy a game, if it's an indie game, I'm assuming they know what they're buying. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna buy this one and see what it's like. People know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's my interpretation, just like personal interpretation of it. Most people just like know what they're getting into. They know what they're paying for, and they know what they're gonna get. So I mean, it can relate to AAA games as well, but again, it's a weird. I mean,
or is it the kind expectation of indie that usually
it's cheaper.
The visuals will not be photorealistic. They won't have this high-end voice acting, so therefore they're not inherently worth as much as AAA because they don't have as much production costs going into it. I wonder if which is also, that's a preconceived notion, because that may or may not 100% be true. Like I look at The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which I think is $15 or $20. So it is on the
I can't remember.
Yeah. But they actually made it photorealistic. Now they did tricks, so they didn't have to do the big AAA production, which is how they're able to drive down costs. Now, not everybody's able to do that.
Yeah, Vanishing of Ethan Carter is $20.
Oh, okay, $20.
Yeah,
wow.
But I don't know if this can be said about The Witness in terms of production, voiceovers, and all that. If it had any voiceover.
Maybe I should. It's not my thing. I've never tried it because, when I'm hearing Blake talk about how he had graph paper and he's sitting there drawing stuff and cutting out things to get it fit, I'm like, no, I don't have time for that. But it's not even about having time for it. I'm not willing to make time for it because that's not my thing. That is totally his thing. He will sit there and he will do it and he loves it, and that's fantastic. But it's not enough for me to be willing to try it.
I used to do that.
It's great. Like the story is great, the puzzles are great, but
I used to do that for Legends of Grimrock, the first one, where it's like the old school RPG kind of first-person movement where you cannot rotate freely. It's just like and it's similar. It's like I ended up drawing a map as well in order to find my way to a certain area. Otherwise, because each area gets more and more complex. Otherwise, you're going to lose your way because it all looks too similar. So that was like
man,
a few years ago now.
I remember
So
drawing maps for what's that text-based Zork? I remember drawing maps for that.
that was
Because it's text-based, so it's like, okay, if you go up, it's this. You go down, it's this. And yeah, I remember helping my friend. We would draw maps of that.
when was this?
The 80s. It was text-based game, so there was. It was black with white text, and that was it. And all I can remember about that, aside from doing that, was that you're likely to be eaten by a grue. That's all I really remember.
Right. Well, I think some people may miss that kind of gaming experience, I guess, where you're supposed to visualize, kind of the solution to a problem and work it out in your head, as opposed to having it on the plate as we're used to by now. I mean, it can be a cool thing if it's your thing,
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm glad that Blake loved it and other people have just loved it. It's just not enough for me to be willing to try it out. So with all that said, that's why I don't know if there's voice acting in it. I know it looks beautiful. No, it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, now we're talking about like preferences. We're not necessarily talking about a price justifying.
Which also goes into bang for your buck, because I mean that $40 is not enough for me to try it out. That's too much for a game that I may or may not like. But if it's this massive, but if I love puzzle games and I hear that it offers this massive experience, well then I don't know why I wouldn't try it, because I unfortunately pay more money for games that are definitely smaller in scope.
Well, I would pay $40 for The Witness way sooner than I would give. What was the price of the order? It was full price.
Full price.
And for Evolve, which was also full price, or Destiny, the launch version, or all that stuff, we were like given too little content for a lot of money, essentially.
Right.
So I'm not guessing. I want to say that The Witness is in a good place in terms of price. It's just that I don't know. The only potential problem I see here is like, if you have something like multiplayer, or like where we're promised something and we don't get that for the amount of money we paid, and we expected it to get it, and for single player games that are just too short or lackluster, or technically, we can always return to the Arkham Knight example, where people thankfully had the option to refund either through Steam or in the end by just returning the game and getting their money back. So I mean, at this stage, I think gamers have. I think they're safe in terms of they should know, what they're getting into. I mean, come on, this is like the era of Twitch and YouTube. People stream games before they're even out. People play games before they're even out. I mean, okay, if people want to think that publishers, they sort of blur what they promise something and they underdeliver, they're welcome to believe that. But lately, I'm thinking that it's improving that in terms of they're listening to the community and all that. So
right. Well, for example, I was talking to a friend this morning about Heaven's Hope, which I reviewed. The review is already up, and I talked about how long I sat and played it, and how it really engrossed me, and I didn't think about how I really did spend my entire weekend in front of my Surface playing this game, and so it probably took me about 14 hours, I think was my final time on Steam. And my friend was like, "Well, how much did it cost?" I said, "It's $20." He's like, "That seems a lot for a point-and-click adventure." And so I immediately had to point out how Broken Age took me 9 hours total for the entire game, and it's $25 per act. And he was like, "Oh, okay." So I don't know. It's almost like we have these, like I said earlier, these preconceived notions about,
What's
well, it took you 14
yeah?
hours. That should cost less than $20. Like, well, you're only paying really about, like a little more than $1 an hour.
What were the prices of like Telltale's episodes, chapters? Was it like 10, 15, 20? I don't think it was 20. It's 20 seems like too high. I will say Game of Thrones, for instance.
I want to
Like,
say each individual episode is maybe $5.
Think so?
Yeah, like $4.99.
Well, okay, so now the entire series is $30.
Okay, so if we took it at face value, because Game of Thrones was 6 episodes, correct?
Yeah.
So that's $5.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I think I was the only one that was 6. So it's $5 an episode, and each episode was about 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah,
so
something like that, yeah.
So I think that you're still getting the same amount of value between the episodic and playing this point and click that was straightforward the whole 14 hours.
Well, right, but I mean, personally, like, as a gamer, I would never buy one episode. I would just wait for the series to...
That's usually what I do. Like, I get a season pass, and then...
Well, yeah.
I either will play the episodes as they come in, or play it all at once.
Hmm.
But like,
I don't know, makes... Yeah.
The Wolf Among Us, which was is the only episodic game that I've actually sat down and played. That was all that I played. I played all 5 episodes before I reviewed it for Action Trip. Mm-hmm. And I want to say that took me 10 hours to do. Because each episode was about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Maybe some were a little longer, some were a little shorter. And I paid $25 for that package. So,
yeah.
Again, now it's a totally different package. The visuals are obviously different. Their thing with Wolf Among Us that has that Heaven's Hope definitely does not. It's the whole thing episode, so these huge cliffhangers, which would really make you want to like wait for the next episode. This Heaven's Hope had no cliffhangers because there was only one story. It wasn't 5 stories put together for one overarching story. It's one whole story.
Exactly.
It was divided up into 3 acts, but the acts were not symmetrical by any stretch of the means. So I think it took me like 7 hours to get to the end of the first act. Then the second act took 2. And then the rest of the time I was like, okay.
No. I don't know. It's I'm just like looking at the initial release for Game of Thrones of the very first episode, mm-hmm. and it says $5 for the. So
So there's not even a discount if you bulk buy.
I mean, leave it up to gamers to decide. To me, it's perfectly reasonable to have the entire series for $30.
Yeah, but as they would probably tell you, that's Telltale's considered more AAA than Jonathan Blow.
Yes.
Which to me, I don't know how fair that exactly is at the same time. Like, just because somebody's indie, that means that they don't deserve the same, amount of money for a similar game.
I don't know if it's like debatable.
But I mean similar as in like, graphics and music and sound and content.
Sure, and production, right.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if it's fair to even... Okay, so it's an indie game. The Witness was described as an indie game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but that guy has such a big reputation now. Does it necessarily make him an indie? I mean, not saying that...
Well, then how are you defining indie? Are you defining indie as in hipster? Or are you defining indie as in it's an independent studio who does their own thing, who's not published by the big
that should be
publishers?
that should be the definition.
Right,
so not supported by a big name publisher.
Which is what he is.
He is his own brand in a way.
Yes, and he has over 100 staff members who were working on The Witness. So it wasn't Axiom Verge versus one guy, one lone guy sitting there coding the whole thing and doing all the music.
Exactly.
So
exactly. That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
So maybe it does deserve the $40 price. So, I mean, we're back to that one.
Or maybe people are getting stuck on the fact that they think indie is the hipster thing, where it's small and, you know, I'm too cool to be part of the man, and so therefore I'm sticking it to the man by not charging $60 so they don't have publisher fees. And that's why I think most people consider indies like, well, it's supposed to be less, which to me also is not fair.
Right, it's true. Well, I don't know. I mean,
I think we've done the work today.
Yes. Yes, definitely. I don't know. It's like I keep saying, it's always like it's up to you, and you have a choice. You can pre-order, you don't have to, and all that, sort of thing. So you should know what you're getting. And these days, I mean, you can. If it's not like a Kickstarter project where you end up supporting a game that way or a project that way, there's early access on Steam. Most games just like do that thing right, like so. If you support that game right from the get-go, you know what you're getting into. I mean, a lot of people seem to be doing that lately.
Yeah, and I personally...
It's different.
As someone who is part of the pre-order culture, I still don't get paying for the beta accesses. I really...
I don't either. It's kind of pricey. I mean, I can respect somebody who wants to support something they believe in.
Okay, but that's totally different.
Yeah, I mean... Isn't that kind of what you can do with pre-ordering as well?
Well, I mean, essentially, like when you buy early access, you are buying the full game. So
yeah, you get the full game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing about early access is that, because I think this happened last year, where a game was never came out of it, and it remained broken, and then they just abandoned the project. Which is that that is a risk that you take for buying into a beta, but that to me right there is like, well, that's why I won't buy into a beta. And with all the Kickstarter projects that are suddenly failing, like Bear Simulator, where they're like, nope, we're done. Like, we just took all your money and we're not going to do this anymore, and we're done.
Is it really called just Bear Simulator?
Bear Simulator. I can guarantee you it's not as entertaining as Goat Simulator.
Yeah, no, I don't think anything is entertaining in that fashion. It was like buggy and glitchy and hilarious on purpose.
But it was supposed to be.
Yeah. So that was weird. It was a weird game, to say the least.
There's nothing like blowing up a gas station, and then you get the with a goat. By the way, you blow up a gas station with the goat, and then you get the Michael Bay achievement.
Well, most of the achievements are kind of like in that area. You blow stuff up, or you molest somebody as a goat.
God, you're awful. Molest somebody as a goat.
Wow, I mean, you know what I mean. Come on, you were like you could headbutt pedestrians or something, right? Or something.
Oh yeah.
And then you get run over by a car, which is always priceless.
And then you'd get more points for how long you did the ragdoll thing, as you got hit by.
Yeah, how long you twirl in the air.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, I don't remember because it was a while ago now. Just there was.
You don't need to play Skate or Die. Just play Goat Simulator. That's really all you need.
I was going to say that, like, which part of somebody's weird imagination did that come from?
Well, it was originally it was an April Fool's joke.
But it's still,
and then people went nuts over it, and they're like, "Oh, okay, you guys want it?
This
Here
needs
you go."
this needs to be a full release. I mean, come on. And that's gaming culture today for you. We're just not satisfied with the current choices, genre. We need something.
We need
something
the goat simulators in our life.
Right. We need something unique, something wouldn't call it controversial because it wasn't, but it was so silly up to the point where it was like...
It was controversial in that people didn't understand why others liked it.
Yeah.
So
kind
that's...
of, yeah.
But, that's...
But it wasn't
controversial. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't controversial like GTA or anything.
No, it was the typical you're dumb because you like something
Yeah,
controversy.
yeah, something like that. Yeah. How did we veer off
I don't
towards
know. This is what we do.
Goat Simulator?
Like we should just like record one of our Monday meetings, and then they can see like how we just veer off. We'll talk about this is what we're going to write about this week, and then suddenly it goes off to talking about Porkins and Star Wars. So I don't know how this happens. It just does.
Yeah, yeah. It's our minds being spontaneous. Um, it's I think, well, I don't know. Have we reached some sort of conclusion about this? Is it just like,
so? What constitutes getting the most bang for your buck? I think it's totally a personal preference. It's like, is this
right?
game like? Is this something that you enjoy? What's the content? What's the production? All these questions go into what how you get the most bang for your buck, or even for those who about the amount of time that you have to play a game. Like for some
Yeah,
people, like me, spending 40, 60 hours on a game is just not possible.
right. I mean, we're at that stage of our lives where
Right.
we cannot spare that much time. So uh, it's about rationalizing, making the most out of your time and money. So I guess people are. I mean, if you're younger, I guess when I was younger, I could manage, playing, you know, late at night and all that.
Well, yeah, because then you
Late,
could
it's
sleep.
not. Well, of course, I mean, you had more time as well. So now I'm looking for games, that are like I wouldn't say easier to play. I'm just like it's they need to be. I don't know. They need to have like some sort of content that doesn't give you too much freedom. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
put it that way. Where it's not like The Witcher, where I don't know if I'll ever finish it, or Fallout 4. I mean, I appreciate those games. I really do. I own both of them, but I don't think I'll ever get around to finishing them. Just like unless I
I would
find some
plan
way to
to.
speed run them, like you know,
Yeah.
find a YouTube video and just like rush towards the very ending in some way.
Well, the only
Um,
reason why I was able to find time for Dragon Age 2 is because I put it on easy and didn't do any side quests. And trust
so
me,
just for the story.
yeah, and I just,
Yeah. Well,
hack and slashed my way through that game, and yeah.
that's fine. I mean, you wanted to
I
get
think
to
I beat it
know
in
the.
12 hours. So there you go. You can do Dragon Age 2 in 12 hours if you play on easy and don't do any side quests.
I don't think that's possible with Origins, even on easy.
No.
Or was there yeah, so it's a long game,
No.
a lot of dialogue, a lot
Like,
of
I
dialogue.
know you can beat the first Mass Effect in 10 hours if you play on easy and you're a renegade and you do no side quests.
Hmm. But I would recommend to people like who never played Origins, Dragon Age Origins, just like do that and go through the stories and dialogue,
Man,
and not necessarily. Yeah,
because when I finally finished Dragon Age Origins, I finished it on easy because, like I said, I didn't have time to start over my game on normal and I didn't feel like relearning it, so I just bumped it down to easy and moved on with my life. I did a lot of side quests in that game. I didn't have the big expansions. I didn't have like all the extra DLC and stuff, but I did a good chunk of the side
that's
quests in there.
yeah,
And I had a hard time with that final boss. And that thing is no joke.
yeah.
So, I mean, I think that
It's
one
not.
you have to do the side quests because you
It's
can't
a
get into
very
that bare bones.
yes. It's a very hard. It's one of the hardest like boss fights. The archdemon,
Hmm.
uh, even on normal, and I do remember like I trying to beat it 3 or 4 times or something for the first time.
Yeah.
And there are like 2 stages or something, and it was very tough.
Yeah, because when I first got to the Archdemon, I know I've told you this story, but I did it for Extra Life, and I got there at 3 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning. And after my 6th time, I actually threw my controller because, I mean, I was tired, and I was, when you get that tired, you become like a child again. And Blake, like, ran over to me. He's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm so fucking pissed right now. Like, I can't believe like how hard this is and why I'm sucking and why this is happening." And And he's like, okay, he's like, Carrie, just go take a breath. Like, why don't we go play something else? Go play some Diablo. I'm like, I don't want to play Diablo. Like, I was so mad. And so I'm texting a friend, like, how angry I am. And he's like, Carrie, it's 3 a.m. You're probably tired. And he's like, can you tell me what you have in your stash? I'm like, oh, I have 3 potions. Like, you're trying to beat that boss on 3 potions. Carrie, go to bed, wake up, start your save, go buy some more potions and come back. And I bet you'll beat it your first time with more potions and sleep.
You need a lot of potions.
100% correct. I went and bought potions and more potions, and with sleep, it just wasn't as hard.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Potions, and what are those called? Like
you talk about the lyrium potions?
Yeah, but there's also something you need to make a healing potion. I don't remember now. Never mind. But yeah, it's you don't go into that armed with just like your best weapons and only 2-3 potions. Then you need a lot. So
yes, I don't think that's one you can do bare bones, even on casual. No.
Still, it's good.
It's a good game.
Yeah, indeed. Amazing. We're talking about BioWare. We don't normally do that.
No, I know. We never talk about BioWare. Like, there's like the font beneath me is not in a BioWare font at all.
Nope.
No, not at all.
No.
But I haven't been playing any BioWare games though. Have you?
Nope.
Nope.
No, not in the last year at least.
I haven't since I popped in Mass Effect when the backwards compatibility happened. And I created like a all goth character, and she's like pretty much neutral and everything because she has no fucks to give. I mean, it's just like anything to ask her, it's just like, whatever. I don't care. Whatever. And I found out when you go neutral, your renegade goes up. So the less fucks you give, you become more renegade.
That's a weird character to that's a weird playthrough character.
Yeah, but
I'm glad you can.
I mean, she is all goth. I mean, totally short hair, black, like black blush, black eyeshadow, black lipstick. She doesn't.
So you could relate to that character in some way.
So much. So very much.
Neutral to the point that she's a renegade.
Yeah, just like my character in Division has this massive throat tattoo, like this massive dragon throat tattoo goes all the way to the back of the neck.
Yeah. Well, so what is up with? I mean, we're switching like topics to the Division now. So what is the problem with? Let's start with that. With the character customization. Is it good or bad? I mean,
is there a problem with it? I mean,
no. Remember, we were reading like user reviews on Metacritic today, and people were like, "It's not a, it's a crappy character customization." Blah blah blah.
If you're going into this expecting it, because it's an RPG, and if you're expecting it to be a hardcore, typical RPG like a Dragon Age or Skyrim, or even Final Fantasy XIV to go to another MMO, where you can seriously get in there and you get your face preset, but then you can sit and alter like the cheekbones and the brow height and the skin complexion and the lip width, all that stuff. That's not good. No. And it's very much like, here's your faces. Now you can take your faces and you can do different hairstyles. But each face, as I've discovered, has a set number of hairstyles.
Yeah.
So yes, you might run into people who look just like you, but again, this is also an MMO. Like if we did an MMO of Shepherd, like how many presets of Shepherd would be really fine? I bet a lot. And I bet a lot of people are just throwing in the set presets.
There would be a lot of default shepherds running around,
and you do see a lot of that, and as much as like I actually did my own character creation in Dragon Age Inquisition with my rogue, this girl I follow on Twitter, she posted her character who looks just like mine, and I actually did different things with it, but still, that just shows you that you're going to have some overlap. But, really, it's New York and Christmas and everybody's bundled up. You really don't see faces anyway.
Do you have anything like accessories, helmets, something? No? Gas masks?
Uh, you can pick up hats along the way.
But just hats, they don't cover your face.
They don't cover your face. Like the accessories, they have different. You can get earrings. Like mine has some really sweet aviators,
But
and
okay, so glasses, earrings, and that stuff, but not helmets or visors
n-
or anything.
nothing that I saw. You can get
If they're
scars.
saving that for some sort of
You can.
microtransaction thing.
I don't know. You can put on
Yeah.
scars and war paint and tattoos, which I did not.
On your face,
On the
across the
face.
face. Okay, okay.
I tried out some war paint. I'm just like, no, it just looks like I fell face first in the mud, so I'm good with that. And I'm not into putting scars on my characters.
Yeah, I don't like that either, to be honest. I mean,
I really wanted to see what they did for tattoos, because it had tattoos. I'm like, well, that's interesting. So all you see is the neck and up. Like, is it going to be like Dragon Age, where they're just like around the eyes, or down the side of the face? Like, how's it going to be? And their throat. And I don't mean like there's a little neck. I mean throat.
yeah,
All the way
right,
around. And some of them
right,
actually go
right.
up on the chin and on the sideburn areas. I'm like, Chris, I'm watching it going, that would hurt so fucking bad. And so Sean comes up, he looks at my character, he's like, is that a throat tattoo? And I was like, yeah. He goes, did you ever get one? I'm like, oh, hell no. That's what my character does, because I'm not doing that.
Right, right. Like it's sort of like it's a dream come true,
So,
which
I
you
mean,
don't have to complete in reality.
and there's so many different outfits that you can pick up that you just find randomly everywhere, and they don't really change your stats that much. It's like, I just want to change the color of my pants or my jacket or my scarf or whatever. So yeah, maybe you're gonna find a lot of people that look like you, but seriously, this game is not about running out and making friends and let's go on jolly adventures together. It's like team up with your friends and go shoot some things. You're not
So
really looking at
essentially,
faces.
the
You're not romancing people. I mean,
right. So the main so the core of the experience is shooter multiplayer shooter.
it's a shooter looter,
And
as a friend of mine told me. Like, yeah, there you
shooter
go, shooter
lure.
looter.
So there's the grind, there's the MMO aspect of it, and there's leveling up.
Yep.
Right.
hmm
So weapons. What about weapons? I mean,
You can
you can customize them.
customize your weapon. Like, you can pick up all these mods. You can you can paint them. You can put different skins on them. I can totally see them doing microtransactions for skins later.
Yeah, probably. What about upgrades or something like to improve the weapons?
The
What
mod,
can you?
uh,
Oh, so it's
the
mods.
mods
Okay.
will, and then you can take
Yeah.
apart the weapons, and you can keep those materials to craft new things when you find recipes later. So those who love crafting will have fun with this. Um,
Okay, cool. That sounds cool. So are you? I mean, for the moment, are you sticking with Are you trying to play co-op or a mixed solo co-op or something
right now,
competitive?
I'm trying to get through the campaign as much as I can. Whether, like last night, a friend who's like, "Well, I want to play with you," so he kind of jumped in, and we played together. So it was kind of cool to see some of the co-op aspects and how to do the single-player campaign, because you really have to do a lot of tactics by yourself. But when you got somebody else, you can form an even more fun strategy. Like, where we were figuring out how to flank the enemies, and how I literally surprised an enemy because I snuck up behind him because he was so focused on my friend. He didn't see me coming behind him, and I shot him, and he literally just went, "Ah, where'd you come from?"
Right,
So,
right. So it's a cool. It's better. Well,
yeah.
essentially, yeah. Well, that makes sense.
I mean,
Is it like
it's better.
it's easy, of course, to connect with people, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was very, very easy. Like, if you see a friend like on your overworld map, you can immediately click on them and invite them to your party, and if they join, they'll immediately beam to you. If they join
Cool.
in.
Cool.
So it was, and
So
if you want to meet people, like you go to somebody and you decide you want to party with them, you just press down the left analog stick, and it'll pop up the invite to party or join party dialogue. So it's
Nice.
yeah.
So that I mean, it's important in that sense. So you did not jump into the dark zone, the infamous,
No, I did not.
notorious
I'm
dark
not,
zone. Yeah.
I'm not leveled up enough. It has right now the lowest,
Ah.
the lowest difficulty suggestion is level 10, and I am 6. And I was talking to a friend, and he said he's now level 30, and he said to go in the dark zone to the lower end at level 10. And he immediately noped back out and was like, I need friends. I need people to come and help
So
me.
it's definitely going to be that kind of thing like where Destiny has, where you can jump into a competitive match anytime, and it's fine. You can train that way and get your ass kicked, but then, keep training, but you're essentially better off if you have a fire team.
In the dark zone, like, I can't imagine going into the dark zone. And I was like, oh, did he get shot by a whole bunch of rogue agents? And he's like, no, the enemies are so much harder. And
but are you having like fun?
I am.
If you're going like like when you're doing the campaign, just that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm having fun, but this is my style game as well.
Yeah.
I understand why some people wouldn't like it, but I personally like it. I love third-person shooters. I will pick a third-person shooter over first-person any day of the week. And I like...
Cover system is like working fine and all that.
The cover system is probably the best cover system I've ever played in a game. It's so fluid.
That's saying a lot. It is an important thing for a third person. Shooter.
Yeah,
that didn't work.
I saw a complaint on one of the user reviews. It's like, there's no crouch. I'm like, well, you don't need a crouch. You have cover, so you automatically crouch.
Well, so if it's a lower cover,
you automatically
crouch.
Get that
you automatically crouch. Okay. Yeah. Or if it's not, you just go behind the cover. So
the thing I really like about the cover is that when you aim your reticule above the cover, when you pop up, your reticule doesn't pop up even higher. So you can aim behind cover and then
and then
peek
out that's
and
cool.
Do it. Or I found out you can actually shoot blind by aiming. So I do a lot of blind fire. I mean, the accuracy, they tell you that the accuracy goes down considerably, but I'll still do it, especially if I'm low in health.
You'd say that it's so far technically polished, working fine, smoothly, and all that. Cool.
Yeah, and like also, all the problems, like I haven't seen anyone standing in doorways. I haven't seen the long lines that you've seen in front of.
What is up with those lines? I don't know.
I don't know where that is or where that's happening, or if that's a certain specific platform problem.
Yeah, but what's the deal there? That's a safe house, right?
Yeah, and the weird thing is they were talking about you have to wait in line for this quest giver, and my response was, I don't understand. Because,
why would you wait in a line?
Because what they're saying is that the quest giver can't talk to more than one person at once, which doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. It's like people would stand in line to wait to talk to the Cryptarch in Destiny, which would be insane because there's like 5 billion people every 15 minutes.
So because I was in the original safe house, a few hours before launch when it was basically just reviewers in there, and there was like 50 or 100 of us in this room, and we're all crowding around this desk. But I had no problem pushing my way through so I could get my little prompt for the guy to give me a quest. So I don't know what happened. Like I said, I don't know what platform that's on. I've heard there's a lot more issues on PC than there are console. And I've heard that Xbox One is having even more stuttering issues than PS4. So I don't know.
Not good. And there's a lot of trolling going on.
Apparently you have that in every MMO, and I was complaining yesterday on Twitter, and a friend of mine's like, you just can't let that stuff get to you. I'm like, well, then they win if you don't.
Yes, but this is like a serious problem. They basically stand in a doorway, and you cannot you cannot progress. You cannot enter a safe house.
At least you can. You can now push through them. But
there is a way, I'm told, but you have to do something with your character. You
just have to keep on pushing. You just keep on walking, and you just immediately will phase through them.
Oh, okay. Well, so it's avoidable.
That's what I hear. But again, I have not run into that issue. And the friend that I played with last night, who has played this game far more than I have, says he's never run into it either. He's also never seen the lines.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Or the people being mobbed by jumping jacks.
I have seen the jumping jacks, but no one's like run up to me doing jumping jacks. You'll see him do it in the middle of the street, and we're just like, cool story, bro. Okay.
Yep.
But I think you, from what I understand, you have that in every game, in every multiplayer game. I mean, I remember watching a video when the Xbox One first came out, and I think it had Call of Duty Ghosts on it, was one of the launch titles. And this one guy, he made his Xbox ID be Xbox Sign Out, and he would go and grief people to where they would say, "Go away, Xbox Sign Out," and then the Kinect would log them out.
Wow.
Yeah. And I watched that video and I laughed along with it. But, at the same time, that's griefing and that's kind of being a dick.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's an elaborate scheme.
Mm-hmm. Because it would be really funny because he recorded even what they were saying. They'd be like, Xbox Sign Out. No.
I mean, no. Oh, jeez. Jesus, somebody put a lot of thought into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, that's all you had time for, right? These last couple of days?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
And I'll be doing much more.
I'm happy that we got the Hitman code, so I'll be starting on that one. I really don't... I mean, our review of Layers of Fear, the indie horror game, is up, so I urge people to read it. It was an interesting experience for me. I do not, recommend it for people who get scared easily because there are tacky jump scares and all horror cliches in it. But if you turn off all the lights and you play with your headphones and if you're alone,
which is what I hear how you're supposed to play.
Yeah, no, it's just there are some seriously, disturbing moments and images in that one. I mean, it's not for everybody, definitely. So
that's why I made you do it.
Yeah. Well, I did play a lot of horror games, but even I got scared a few times, like seriously scared. I was like, and then at times I was confused because it's kind of a personal emotion, always fear. So at times you were like, okay, this isn't scary. This is just weird. This is, it's kind of like a disturbing image of, I don't know, something, and like a picture or a painting of a person that's partially a dog or a beaver or something, and that gets twisted, and you're like, oh, not scary, weird, moving on. So that's a failed,
it's like
effect.
Picasso on drugs.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, I guess. But it's it's if that's your thing, it can deliver. It's just that it's probably has way too many cliches for people to call it a breakthrough horror game.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of liked how it was done. I liked the atmosphere and the tone of it and the. I didn't like the story that much. The story was kind of boring, I must admit. It's not that it was boring, but again, it's another tacky thing, another cliche. Other than that, I've been jumping into Far Cry Primal for a bit, but just for a bit. It looks cool. It's interesting trying to survive in that one. A lot of animals have something against humans, let me tell you. A lot of them. So it's interesting. It's a hunting simulator, basically, without guns. But it gets really fun when human opponents show up.
Well, I've also been told that's really fun for taming animals.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I was like, how the hell is this going to be fun without guns? It's really a mystery. And then I found out that it's actually fun. Again, I'm very early, but we've published our review on that, so people can check that out as well.
Yeah, Blake was the one who reviewed that.
Yeah, and I'm eager to. I must admit, I'm eager to jump into the Division as soon as I possibly can. But that's going to be after Hitman, probably, if I manage to find a gap or the spare time. Just like start playing it casually, half an hour maybe per day.
Well, then you might do like one campaign mission and a couple of encounters. That's all you'll do a day. It's not so bad.
Yeah, probably. It's not going to be easy coordinating with somebody that
Well,
also
just
wants
don't
to
go
play
into
for
the dark
Epic now.
zone.
Avoiding the dark zone. Okay, got it. So we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up because I want people to read our reviews instead. So I'll be posting the division next week. So, but we thank you so much for watching and or listening to us. You can subscribe to this channel on YouTube. We do have unboxing videos and gameplay videos. Udarosh just posted a gameplay video of him in Far Cry Primal, and I just did an unboxing video this morning of Tom Clancy's The Division, where is it? Where I got this really awesome watch. That's a real watch. Come on,
use it. Oh, it has the glow. They're calling it the Eye of Sauron.
I can see that. But yeah, it's actually a really nice watch.
Is that like glow at night as well? I mean, like all the time? No,
no,
when you.
See, it's off. Yeah. But,
okay.
But
that looks
you can actually
cool.
set timers and stopwatches. I kind of went over all that in the video.
Cool, that's kind of bulky, but cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I was expecting like a little cheap replica, not something this nice.
Not an actual watch.
Right.
Right.
One that's actually made of metal. I mean, it's nice. Gotta hide that from the kids, tell you that.
Oh, good. Okay.
And you can follow us on Twitter, of course. The site is action_trip. Udarosh is Udare Vader, and I am a Crunchy Chocobo. And of course, we ask you keep on reading actiontrip.com every day. And we will be back next week with another exciting Action Trippin Ballscast.
Okay, bye.
Bye.